Hey guys, the new Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout ride is just opening at Disneyland Resort's California Adventure. I got to go on it early, and I have to say I loved it. I think you're going to really enjoy it. It did replace a ride that used to be there, the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Uses the same structure and the same basic system where you're in an elevator that kind of flies up and down, except here you're with the Guardians who've been captured by the Collector, kind of helping them break out, hence Mission Breakout, which you're seeing the chaos happening during the ride while you're on it when you're going up and down. But let me go over the things that really make this entire experience work so well, starting with the queue system and all the Easter eggs. So when you're waiting in line for a ride, that can be the suckiest part, obviously. Here they did a really good job of putting a lot of entertainment. It's the Collector's Collection. It's filled with sort of MCU Easter eggs. There's an Ultron robot and a Nova Corps uniform and a ton more things from Doctor Strange, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and all sort of corners of the MCU. There's even things that haven't been seen in the MCU yet that make you wonder, is this the future of where they're going? Like Beta Ray Bill's hammer is there, which is pretty cool. And there's also Disney theme park Easter eggs. I won't name them, but there's one very obvious one, a creature that you will be familiar with if you've gone to Disneyland a lot before. So plenty sort of visual stimuli as you're waiting in line. Which leads me to the next point, which is a really well-told story. They are telling you a story. The idea that you're in the Collector's sort of headquarters and that he's got the Guardians there. I think that even if you don't know the Guardians, and yes, there are some people who haven't seen these movies, if you are just someone who goes to Disneyland, you'll still enjoy this. It really tells the story of who the Collector is and his sort of opulent, narcissistic manner. Benicio del Toro appears in a couple different videos, sort of setting up the story, as do all the actors from the Guardians movies. You get it, you get what's going on, and it pays off really well when you get on the ride, kind of the storyline and how Rocket is trying to get everyone out, and you're there with Rocket along the way. Next up is the fact that the music is used so well. Music is a key part of the Guardians movies. It's key here as well. There are 6 variations of this ride, so every time you go on it, you don't know which one you're gonna get, with 6 different songs. I got to ride it 4 times. I got to do 4 of the variations. The first time I rode it, it was Elvis Presley's Burning Love played. It was hard to resist the ride the second that song went on. Look, if manipulative or not, it works. They did a really good job with the song choices, all sort of high tempo, helps propel the ride along. It works really well. Which brings me to the next point, that it just gets the sort of tone of the Guardians right. Music's a part of that, but it's not the only part. And the mixture of humor and action is really captured well here. Again, using all the actors from the movies, which is sort of key. You're watching these vignettes while you're on the ride. So you're going up and down in the elevator, but you're also seeing the doors open and things happening, these little action set pieces that change along the way, and they're great. Very funny, like it's sort of that action beat undercut by humor. It does evoke the movies in that way, and a lot of people that were sitting on this ride with me were applauding, and this was a group of press, so that was kind of notable because you might think they might sit there grumpy, but no, they were totally wrapped up in it. Which leads me to the fact that it's got great repeat value. 6 variations helps a lot, right? Of course, you're going to want to see them all. I want to see the 2 I haven't seen, so that naturally makes you want to go on it again. But I still think just overall, it's just a fun ride that makes you want to go on it again. I do think sometimes they repeat some of the bits a little too much when they mix and match. So one song will keep a bit from another song, if you follow what I'm saying. And sometimes you might be like, I already saw that in a different song, but overall it still really works. And I feel like you come off the ride wanting to go right back on it. Lastly, this was replacing Tower of Terror, as I mentioned earlier. I don't know, and if you haven't gone on that ride, it won't really mean anything to you, but if you have, it's sort of a classic, beloved ride. I loved it too. I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan, huge horror fan, but I have to say this is a better experience overall. Tower was great, a sort of moody, atmospheric, but as far as an overall sort of fun thrill ride experience, and one that makes you want to, jump back on it, this one is better. It does sort of capture a sort of exhilaration that Tower didn't quite do. And it's a longer ride, and because there's the variations which make the elevator go up and down in different ways when you're on it, you just kind of feel like a sense of, I'll use a term again, but propulsion. That Tower of Terror seemed kind of truncated in comparison now that I've done both. And so I'm really glad Tower still exists in Disney World over in Orlando, if you can get over there to still do it. But I have to say Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout is the more fun experience, and I'm kind of psyched to go on it again now that I have. So those are my thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. It's now open at California Adventure Disneyland Resort. I think you're gonna dig it. But for plenty more on all things Marvel and Disney and theme parks and the place that are all now coexisting in, keep it here at IGN.